Weapons Handling 101. How do I pick up and clear pretty much every firearm I'm gonna come across? The short answer, safety, magazine, chamber, safety. Those 4 steps will get you through pretty much every weapon, regardless of type. Belt-fed machine gun, tube-fed shotgun, magazine-fed rifle, magazine-fed pistol, it does not matter. Understanding the principles of how firearms work as tools is the key to allowing you effectiveness across weapon type. So I've got 3 examples here, all of which are loaded currently on the table. It's okay, it's not a big deal. First, our Glock. Next, our 1911. Next, our AKM type rifle. All different manual of arms, all take our mnemonic tool, safety, magazine, chamber, safety, in its own type of way. So we'll start with our Glock. Glocks have no external safety. I'm constantly gathering as much information as I can about the weapon system I'm handling before I even pick it up, as I'm looking at it. So my first clue that this gun has a higher probability of being loaded than unloaded is a magazine in the pistol grip. Referring back to rule number 1 though is treat every weapon as if it is loaded. It all builds on itself. So notice how I grab the weapon system, right? Picking it up right off the bat, I'm making an L if you're lefty, or a little gun sign if you're righty, with my firing hand, or the gun that I'm going to pick up, the hand that I'm going to pick up the gun with. Trigger finger is high on the slide, the rest of the digits are firmly grasping the grip itself. So, being that there's no external safety on the Glock, I don't have to worry about either of the safeties in our little mnemonic tool here. Magazine. I need to remove the source of the bullets, whether it be a magazine, tube-fed shotgun, a belt, it does not matter. I'm taking the bullets out of the system. Now, I remove the magazine, I see that there's bullets in the mag itself. Again, another clue leading me to think that there's probably a round in the chamber. I'll set that aside. Lots of guns have a loaded chamber indicator of some form or fashion, right? With the Glocks, it is the extractor itself. When there's a round in the chamber, it's a bit more extruded than it would be normally if there was no round in the chamber. And you can kind of feel that with your index finger. Again, a clue as to what the status of the gun is. So, safety, irrelevant. Magazine, removed. Chamber, I'm going to work the slide to lock the slide to the rear, or just work the action itself. I prefer to lock it to the rear because of the following part, which is, I watched the round come out, I visually saw it, I know it. Doesn't mean I'm done though, doesn't mean the weapon's clear. I'm going to conduct my 3-point safety check. What I'm looking for, the 3 points, are the chamber itself, the extractor, and the magazine well, right? You can see through the gun. I'm making sure that there is no round in the chamber. I'm making sure that there is no casing or cartridge stuck on the extractor itself, and then by confirming that the magazine well is in fact empty, I'm building in safety in case I forgot to take the magazine out of the gun, because you can see the bullet sitting there as opposed to not sitting there. All right, so that's my 3-point safety check and what goes into clearing out the chamber itself. The final safety is irrelevant because it's a Glock. However, where that does come into play is a weapon system like our 1911 here. Moving on to the 1911, gaining information. The hammer is cocked to the rear. 1911 is a single action only type firearm. The hammer has to be back in order for the weapon to be fired. So the fact that the hammer is back is an indicator that there might be a round in the chamber. Also, I can see the magazine protruding from the bottom of the magazine well. Yet another clue. Picking it up the same way. Safety, external safety on the 1911 is the lever in the back. Again, typically, if it's a handgun and it has an external safety, it's going to generally be in this region, okay? This guy, I cannot work the slide, I cannot work the action if the weapon is on safe. So in this manual of arms, the number 1 safety, the safety that comes first in our little tool here, is actually a reminder that I have to place the weapon on fire, okay? Next part, magazine. Remove the source of feed. There's rounds in it, a clue that there's a round in the chamber. Chamber. Work my action, I watch the round come out, lock the slide to the rear, 3-point safety check. Chamber, extractor, magazine well. The weapon is now clear. I'll lower the hammer. 1911 is cleared and ready. AKM pattern rifle, picking it up in the same way. Non-fire hands controlling the rail, the fore end, whatever, right? I'm controlling the weapon in a safe manner, making sure I'm not pointing at anything I'm not willing to destroy. Weapon safety rules. So with the safety here, on AKM type guns, is this giant bar on the side, okay? Few indicators as to the status of the gun. One, again, magazine is in the gun, and the safety is on. You can see quite clearly with this weapon design whether or not the safety is on or off. If you can see into the internals of the gun underneath the dust cover, the safety is off. If you cannot, the safety is on. Just like with the 1911, I cannot work the action of this weapon if the gun is on a safe. See? The bolt won't go all the way to the rear. And there is a round in there, but it won't extract because the bolt can't go all the way to the rear. So once again, that number one safety is to put the weapon on fire. Next, remove the magazine, removing the source of feed, rounds in the chamber. You know the next part. Chamber. Work the action, watch that round come on out. AKMs don't lock back to the rear typically. So, chamber, bolt face, magazine row. Okay? Safety, put it back on. That's why safety's on there twice, right? Depending on the manual of arms, I need to put the thing on fire in order to actually clear out the weapon system itself. But when I'm done, if it allows for it, I want to put the gun back on safe, right? Because of proper and good habits. So that is how I pick up and clear out pretty much every type of weapon system you're gonna come across. What do I do if someone hands me a weapon? Rifle, pistol, whatever, it doesn't matter. How do you handle that? So there's a few things you do. I would make a list of 4 things. 1, employ the weapon safety rules, always. Be competent and safe. 2, ask them what the status of the gun is. Is it loaded or is it unloaded? And then trust but verify. Don't just take their word for it. So, someone hands me this rifle. I say, hey, thanks, man. This is a nice gun. Is it loaded or is it unloaded? And they're gonna say it's unloaded or it's loaded. I don't care, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna say, oh, okay, cool, thanks. Safety, magazine, chamber, safety. No magazine, weapon's on fire, safe, I gotta put it on fire, work the action, there's nothing in there. Okay, the weapon system's clear. Third thing I'm doing, if it has an optic on it, or if it's a rifle and it has iron sights on it, or what have you, even if it's a pistol and has a sighting system, I'm going to ask them, 1, if it is zeroed, and then 2, what is it zeroed at? That's a whole separate conversation I won't get into now, but if it is zeroed, I want to know if it is zeroed, and then what it is zeroed to. And the 4th thing I'm going to do, particularly if my life depends on it, or it might very well, in that duty context, if you will, is conduct a functions check on the weapon system. And what this is doing, it's showing me that the gun actually functions the way it's designed to function. It was put together properly, it was reassembled properly, nothing weird happened to it. I know that if I need to use this in defense of my life or other lives, the gun is going to function as it should. In a perfect situation, I'll be able to actually test fire this thing and zero it to myself before I need to be put into a situation where that might occur. However, it's not always the case, right? So I'll perform a functions check. So with all of that, I hope you guys have a somewhat better understanding as to how to go about handling guns, clearing them, knowing the status of them, what to do if someone hands you a weapon system, and overall, a better idea of how to compose yourself around firearms. It can be a very daunting and intimidating task to newcomers to the world of firearms, but that being said, with deliberate practice and care and respect, it's not all that complicated. So think through your actions, be deliberate in what you do, and go forth and do great things.